Hi, my amazing souls. It's your blissful soul, Katrina WW for Wajiko. I welcome you and I welcome you back to this wonderful YouTube channel. Yeah, today we are talking SDGs and I'll get into that in a minute. So, how have you been? Are you well? I'm also good. Now we are at Pride in Azuri. Is it Azuri? Yes, at Azuri Towers. We are here courtesy of the Kenya SDGs Forum and UDPK and other partners. And we are here to launch. The main thing is to launch the program, the study program on public participation, as we talk more about the 17 SDGs and how public participation is key in seeing these come to fruition in our country. I met these wonderful gentlemen. They are from Hatua Network, Mombasa, and their main concern, their area is SDG number 1. They are eradicating poverty in Mombasa through education and job placement, as they are going to, you'll hear it from the horse's mouths later on here. So these are the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. I've become so passionate about this since I started work on these, advocating and all that this August with Site Savers. Yeah, found out as it will come out later that most people don't know about this. Most people in the grassroots don't know about what's happening. They have no idea about the SDGs, and that's why these public participation forums are very important. Now let's get into it. We started with a word of prayer.
Push for security and well-being of everyone.
Ashe and Kai.
For the purpose of pushing for our children to have a brighter future.
Ashe and Kai.
For the purpose of joining our efforts globally for the betterment of the world.
Ashe and Kai.
For the purpose of rising as trailblazers in changing our country and our world.
Ashe and Kai.
Welcome to this national dialogue. I know that at the top of this conversation today is public participation. Coming to welcome our host, the SDG Kenya Forum, Ms. Florence Sevuo, to deliver her opening remarks, and thereafter we'll proceed. Welcome, Florence.
You know what Jomo Kenyatta talked about 23 independence? One is what? Kiswahili. Ujinga, ugonjwa, and umaskini. Imagine during independence, those are the three, like that was then our three priorities of the country. And so I hope today, as we continue this dialogue, we can think about how to organize better, we can think about citizen and community voices, how to make those up, and also the action that we need to take. As I take this, Anna, and have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. My name is Alice Mundia. I am a member of the board of United Disabled Persons of Kenya, and I'm sitting in also for our CEO, Madam Sally Juta. United Disabled Persons of Kenya is the umbrella body of persons with disabilities in Kenya. Is it inclusive enough?
No.
Persons with disabilities still experiencing barriers,
Yes.
even after the commitments that we've made in Agenda 2030. As we sit here today, this conversation is very, very key for us as United Disabled Persons of Kenya. I am also a mother to a 19-year-old autistic son, and I chair an organization called Differently Talented Society of Kenya. And many of the key issues that we are discussing today are cross-cutting issues, because when you talk about matters of inclusive education, when we talk about health and the well-being of the people, when we talk about matters relating to inclusivity and matters relating to reduction inequalities that are existing in society, SDG 10, all those issues are very pertinent to us. So today we ask ourselves three key issues that despite the commitments that we have made in the Sustainable Development Goals in Agenda 2030, we are still grappling with matters related to data and especially disaggregated data. So what can we do to ensure that all data that is collected is disaggregated and it can be used for decision making? We also ask ourselves, what are we doing to remove barriers existing in society? Because we have made quite a number of commitments, and I know we have been reminded that we are about 7 years to 2030 in terms of our commitments. What is this that we are doing to ensure that persons with disability can be able to access services, can be able to access education, healthcare, matters of accessibility, and also what is this we are doing, even within our organizations, to enhance inclusivity? I know there's quite a lot we can discuss today, matters of social protection, when we talk about ending poverty, of course, matters relating to also provision of jobs. So there's quite a lot, and all these are cross-cutting issues, and the general commitment in the SDGs is to ensure that we leave no one behind.
It's called the Swedish Initiative or short FEST. Yes. So we are a German political foundation. I would say to be in the country since we are as old as Kenya, operations in the country. Our main work has focused around four main areas: social democracy, social justice, solidarity, and social ecological transformation. For the purposes of this gathering, we are here to the collective goal of the SDGs. We are grateful to the continued partnership with the forum, SDGs Kenya Forum. We've been working together in this process for a couple of years now. We've been supporting the community dialogues, taking the work forward is why we are here today. We want to hear from you, you're the representatives you're the implementers of the SDG, of all the SDGs within the different counties. And that's why we thought, let's have a national dialogue, let's bring our voices together, let's have a conversation around what do you think we need to, what can we improve on, how is it going on within the spaces. Again, I'm passionate about SDG 13. That's my area of expertise, climate action. So within that space, our approach is to try and see how then do we get locally led climate actions, which I think applies to all the 17 goals. We want to see how is each of these goals being implemented within the community. What are the community voices in this in the implementation of all of these goals? So for us as First Kenya, we want and what I hope to hear from the conversation today is one, how can we implement all the SDGs better? How can we support our local communities to amplify their voices on what their needs are, what the impact is, where the impact will be for them, where can we make the most impact to our communities, and how can we better support them to achieve this impact.
The goal number 12, if we are able to implement that goal as a country, then the other goals are easy to implement. You'll also note that the UN requires countries also to, as much as possible, work towards the reduction of poverty, exclusion, discrimination, and also reduce inequalities and vulnerabilities, which leave most of us behind or affect the potential of us of being able to live prosperous livelihoods. So it is a call for all of us to work towards ensuring that every one of us is part of the processes we implement, and that no one is left behind. I want to make reference to the three perspectives of the Sustainable Development Goals. or the 2030 agenda, the first one being the HRBA, that is the Human Rights-Based Approach, where we are reminded that we need to ensure that individuals and also communities appreciate and know their rights, and that there are systems in place to ensure that those rights have been addressed and we pay attention to them as we plan, as we budget for them. The other one is on gender equality and empowerment. Of course, you know that more than 50% of our population are women and girls. So what happens if they are left behind? It means that only 49% are participating in both political and also economic processes of Kenya. That means that the 49 will be working for the other 51%. So that will again increases the dependency ratio within ourselves. Then most importantly, the third principle is now the leave no one behind, and which is now the backbone of the SDGs. It is the art. It is at the epicenter of the SDGs. If some cohort of our population is left behind, then rest assured, the next 7 years, whatever we are doing amounts to nothing. So we have to work to ensure that all of us participate in all processes of this country. You'll agree with me, most of the barriers we are facing as a people, as communities, in terms of resources and also opportunities, have nothing to do with fetch or accident. It is our own making in terms of the policies we make, the laws that we are developing at national and also at county level, the practices that we are implementing or practicing at community level. So that is what is contributing to the barriers we are facing in terms of access to services, resources, and also opportunities. So that means we have something to do. We need to advocate and also influence the way the policies, the laws are made, so that we ensure that we carry every one of us as we implement the SDGs. The leave no one behind principle, we've learned that from the MDGs. If you remember the 8 goals, when we look at them, they were talking about the human person. Poverty, hunger, education, child mortality, maternal mortality, issues of HIV and AIDS. All that is about the human being. But now for us to move away from that, we had to come up with the SDGs, which are a bit broad, and which, again, propagate locally led solutions. Part of those solutions is to ensure that all of us are part of those processes. I also want to say that there's analysis which has been done by the UN system, 2020-2021, and it points out key issues which we need to take into consideration as we plan, as we implement interventions. The first one is that vulnerabilities are increasing in 2023, 7 years to 2030. Deprivations are becoming more entrenched. There is high risk of missing the poverty target. What is our current rate as a country? Do you know the current rate? Poverty rate? 13.6, not 31.6. In 2015, 31.6% of Kenyans were poor. That means that 31 out of 100 have no access to food, for example, or other basic needs. That has increased between 2015 and now to around 38.6%. So it shows that poverty is increasing. So by 2030, we will not realize goal number 1. And also goal number 2 because they are tied. Hunger is on the rise. Of course, you know that currently we have had 5 failed rainy seasons. What that means is that more than 5 million Kenyans, mostly in the 23 asals, are in need of food assistance. By February this year, we had lost lives because of lack of food, as well as livestock. So with this increasing rate and frequency of the natural disasters, including even floods, means that the Agenda 2030 becomes a mirage. But this is a call again to us as we plan, as we do whatever we are doing. Let us remember that the indicators that are there are not favorable for us as a country.
Should we drop public participation? Anybody with a very strong response? Very quickly.
We can reorganize and restructure the way public participation is conducted.
We can reorganize and restructure the way it is conducted.
Yes, so that it meets some threshold.
He says something akin to the people taking back their power. Does that sound like a revolution?
Mm-hmm.
This is not the revolution through. We are not the ones who bring revolutions about, but I hear you about reorganizing and restructuring how it is done. But unless we come forward to be heard, unless we stand up to be counted, to want to change these processes, then they remain as is.
Kasika na Richie Beats, yeah. Hundo ule mwaka, this is that year. Hakuna limitations, mwaka wakuvuka border, year of breaking boundaries.
Angelo Gitonga, the Director, Environment and Climate Change, called Government of Mary. Please say hi to everyone.
Thank you so much. You say this afternoon or morning? Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Gitonga Angelo is my name. I work in the Department of Environment and Climate Change in the Province and Climate Change.
Yes, thank you. But then we have a lady in our midst. The government, that is national government, that is Ms. Joanna Rico, also an economist, State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizens. Ms. Joanna, say hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joanna Rico from the State Department of Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs as an economist.
Thank you. You realize that I've already shared the topic, which is public participation, especially the vulnerable groups at county level. Only has featured a lot as one of the model county. At least it has also been in the study. So one of the key factors to be considered in preparation of development plans is public participation. So participatory planning is very key in terms of the development plans that we make, the CNDPs, the ADPs, sector plans, and the budgeting plans. So what are some of the key lessons? What are some of the key lessons in your efforts towards strengthening public participation since inception of the commission? Let's give us a case of Makueni County.
Thank you, Mr. Nambeza. I think Makueni has pictured a bit on participation, and the structure which has been given there is a structure we have utilized over the period of the last regime and currently the second regime. But I would say one of the key challenges which we are still seeing how we are coming out of it is when we go to community and we discuss with the community, what are we getting from them? Are we getting from them the need, or we are getting from them the project or the program? Because when you move to the program or the project, it becomes emotional. Because you have had everybody want to take home something. They want to reach the family and event baraza and said, it's me who raised hand to make sure this project comes. So are we going to get from people the project, the program, or the need? And if we get from the people the program or the project, what is the role of technical person who is given a project or the program and has been stamped is what comes from the coach? That's one of the things we have been coming with and we are still working around it. The second aspect was data. How are we utilizing the data we have? Like in the current, when we are developing CIDP, we tend to shift from the cluster formation to the sublocation formation because we have developed our ward statistics profile, which was giving us data from the KBS up to sublocation level. So we know how many farmers are in this sublocation, how many farmers are doing livestock, are doing crop, and which crops are dominant in this sublocation. So we end up to shift to the sublocation level because of the availability of the data. The other aspect I would think through is when we are linking the plan to the budget. Because remember, the annual development plan has to be submitted by 1st of September. The county fiscal strategy paper has to be done on February. That's a gap of how many months. A lot might have changed. And then the budget has to be submitted by April. So you realize between the fiscal strategy paper and the budget it's 2 months. But after the annual development plan, a lot has happened, including the implementation of the previous budget, where some gaps in resource allocation and all that might have cropped during the implementation of that budget. So those are the key issues we have been working on and challenges we have experienced. The last and not the least, I've had discussion on my senior, Kimoche, said, what is this discussion? And one of the things we are analyzing is, now what is the role of administration, the county administration, and who are they in the planning and the budget? Because when you look at the County Government Act, if we miss the role of ward administrator and village administrator and village council, we don't have public participation. Thank you.
Meru County has identified a number of flagship projects in 2027, that is, which are geared towards making the people of Meru happy, including construction of dams, water plants, and the climate change, that is the local the mitigations. What are some of the existing institutional frameworks for public participation that you have implemented, and do you have a feedback harvesting mechanism for these projects?
Thank you, moderator. Good afternoon once again. Meru County, I hope I'm audible to the people at that. Yes, it's true that we have ambitious plans, especially in water and environmental conservation in Meru County. Most of you might think Meru County being next to Mount Kenya because one of the peaks of Mount Kenya is in Meru. It's a very water-rich county. That's might be the assumption. The contrary, Meru, 67% of Meru County is arid. That's why it's limited. It's only that 7% which is endowed with those resources. And we have been a water-rich county up to a certain time, about 2 years ago, when so almost all rivers on a certain time. However, I'm not talking about the study environment here. I'm talking about public participation in the process of identifying these projects and the field partner policy when these projects are being done. It is true, in the last 1 year, Meru County has been able to develop 3 huge dams. I don't want to call them water dams because they are both the waters and levels. Huge dams with capacity of about 5 million cubic meters of water. We thank God that the rains have come and it's starting to get freedom of this. But identification of this Meru County as a structure for public participation, since Meru County was among the first counties to enact the County Public Participation Act to domesticate the legal framework, because we developed the Meru County Public Participation Act in 2014. That means we have a legal framework that enables the citizens of Meru to give their inputs. However, just like, and this is personal, just like HIV and AIDS. I think the reason as why it has been a challenge is because we have integrated the management of the disease. And I think public participation also is becoming a victim of over-regulation. Yes, is it public participation because the law requires it, or is it public participation because it is what should be done? I follow what the MC said in the morning, whether we should drop it or whether we should remain with it time. And the point I'm trying to make here is that public participation has become, there is huge corruption in public participation, corruption at both levels. Should I pay you so that you give your views? Tokenism has been the biggest devil against public participation, where when you call people to give their views, their concern is not what you're asking for, but what they are going to go away with. That makes public participation expensive. That makes public participation become a ticking the box problem. Public participation as a legal requirement. So that has been the greatest challenge, in my own opinion, in public participation. The structures are there. We have a mechanism like in May this year, just to supplement what I've said on matters environment and climate change. We undertook a world-based level public participation process to correct views on what the population understood to be the climate risks and hazards affecting them. And we developed a Mayo County PCRA report, which is participatory climate change, climate risk assessment report.
The SDGs Kenya Forum and the Leave No One Behind Kenya Coalition have held across the country, and the kind of power that this has in ensuring that the voices of everyone, as we are saying, leaving no one behind, ensuring that the voices of the vulnerable and marginalized are heard and are amplified. And the esteemed panelists here come from different counties, and they have them and their organizations have organized and participated in these community dialogues, and they'll be sharing experiences, lessons, and some of those key things that have come out of these community dialogue experiences. And as we are saying, how important these are in ensuring that no one is being left behind. So we have Sadiki from Citizen Network for Rural Development from Taita Taveta County. If you could just raise your hand, Sadiki. And then we have Joseph Siuki from Ahadi Achievers Empowerment CBO from Makueni County. And then we have Milka from Greening Moore Environmental Initiative from Machakos County. And then we have Daniel Nyagaya is the programs manager at Hatua Network from Mombasa County. And then we have Felix Mwenda from Network for Community Action and Ecosystem Restoration from Meru County. And so, very quickly, we can begin with you, Daniel. Just sharing a little bit about your organization and the kind of initiatives that you're implementing that align to the SDGs, and then tell us briefly about the community dialogues that you've organized, participated in, and what have been some of the experiences, the lessons learned that some of those like very high level, key things that have come out of the community dialogues that we can all take home with us.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, my name is Daniel Nyagaya. So it's very slowly not to confuse people. I work for Hatua Network, a non-profit organization with offices in Mombasa. And what we do, we deliver programs that are designed to exit youth out of poverty in alignment with SDG number 1. And we do this through providing educational support. And in 2024, we would have supported 1,000+ students across Mombasa. We also provide mentoring on soft skills, key skills that we people are key for success in the 21st century. And at the very tail end of our program, we provide support to our alumni to help them settle in the workplace and hopefully lift themselves out of poverty, which we've been quite successful at. The community dialogues that we had, that we organized with SDG Kenya Forum are quite informative, and most of the things seem to have been like reflective of what we've been discussing since the start of the day today. And the conclusion from the conversations we had was public participation is really important, and community members will crave participation. There are certain instances where they don't even care what the subject is about, you know. We'll be wanting to talk about one thing, but they found a platform to discuss something else. We'll be here and we might want to talk about fuel, but fuel is not what brought us here. So those kinds of things. And giving community members an opportunity to engage, give feedback, respond to issues that concern them, contribute ideas in areas where they might have interest in is really key for us to make progress towards the SDG goals that we hope to achieve by 2030. Another key thing we learned was people on the ground might not know about SDGs, while people at the top are really, pushing the goals. And that engagement allowed some people to learn about SDGs for the first time, which was very critical. And it tells us maybe we should have started this way back at the inception of the goals. Start at the very bottom to get awareness with the people who are actually on the ground. Thank you.
Together with other organizations, local organizations, we are also pushing for accountability. Like for this third generation CIDP, we had issue with in Makueni County because we felt that there was a process that was skipped. That is the validation process. So we had the opportunity to mobilize other organizations and petition the government, and they rectified that. About the community dialogue that we did with SDGs, I may say it was one of the best form of meaningful public participation that I ever seen, because apart from the mobilization, the discussions were very well structured. It gave every person an opportunity to voice out their concerns. And one of the key things that, or some of the achievements that we did from that community dialogue that we carried on, is that people were able to identify and tell us the groups they feel are left behind in our society. They talk of the elderly, talk about the youth, and even the PWDs. Again, more specifically, they pointed out some projects that they felt that were not well done, and whose submissions were taken to the county government. And lucky enough, the governor himself made a commitment to attend and even he visited himself those projects. So, like Adam, that we were saying that is not sad event. Right now, the grantors are around. So we feel that it's one achievement that we achieved with that over there. Thank you.
In just highlighting some of the critical issues and findings that emerged from that study. As I said, in 2020, when we conducted this study, it was exactly 10 years since the promulgation of the Constitution, which has given good indicators and good strides towards incorporating most of the evolved functions and allowing citizens to participate at different levels of governance.
Mwaka wa kuspread popote Kasika na Richie Beats, yeah. Hundo ule mwaka, this is that year. Hakuna limitations, mwaka wa kuvuka boda, year of breaking boundaries.
Song playing is by yours truly. I hope I remember to put the link in the description box, but if I don't, yeah, it's in my channel. You can find it there. And with that, it was time to go home. Yeah, go on for the road with the beautiful Esther and the UDPK team. Look at Alan. Dennis there. Yeah, we are wrapping up. We had lunch and time to go home. So thank you for staying tuned. I hope you have subscribed. I love you guys. See you on the next one. Like and share as well, okay? And let's keep the SDGs conversation going.